Hi, Ed.
Hi, Tildet.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Can you make sure I can share the screen?
Yeah,
So
I have to make
can
you. I
share.
have to make you the host. So let me do that.
Thank you. How many people do we have?
We have 13 registered. Somebody's in the waiting room right now. So
Oh, great.
we'll see. You know, if we get half and we get 6 or 7, we'll see.
Oh, Stuart Small is coming. I love him.
You know Stuart? He's a good guy.
I know Stuart. Yes.
And where'd he go? Oh, he was in. Now he popped out. I don't know what happened.
Shall I admit him? It says admit. Do you think you
Oh, that's why I'm not seeing him anymore. Now you have to admit everybody because you're the host.
Oh, okay.
So it's up to you. If you're ready and you want to admit them, or you want to wait till we get a few more people, up to you.
Whatever you want. It's okay. I can admit them, and then we unless I yeah, it should be okay.
Okay.
And now I don't see him. It says 3 participants. Let's see how he's coming. How is everything going?
Everything's going good. Yeah.
Good.
No complaints. I actually went to the office yesterday for a little while for the first time. So
Oh, you did. How did it feel?
Well, it was different. Yeah, I mean,
Yes,
I
know.
definitely don't mind working at home at all. I've been saying it the whole time. It's not been a problem for me, but it was okay. Yeah, I went in and we got to see some people, so it was good.
Yes, so that's what we'll talk today. You know,
Yeah.
there's everyone. Yes.
Very apropos.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Hi, Stuart.
I think he might be on a phone call.
Yeah. Okay, sure. Hi, Ed.
Hey, Stuart, how you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Good to see you.
Hi, Stuart. How are you?
You froze up, I think.
Yes.
You're like frozen, I think.
Yeah, you froze up there a little bit. Yeah, you were frozen.
Now?
So we didn't hear either that or you were doing the freeze dance. We didn't know what you were doing.
No, it's you know, I found a nice spot to work, and it doesn't. The Wi-Fi is not always reliable in this room.
Yeah.
So I go to. I have an office in the basement in my house.
That's
where
where
I usually work. Yeah, but these days, anyway, you know, you got to keep moving around.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
So I've been keeping out of the basement because actually my wife's studio is down in the basement, and she hears me talking, and she doesn't like the sound of my voice anymore.
Yeah.
What kind of studio is it? What kind of studio?
My wife's a painter, an artist.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, go to her website. You'll see her work.
Okay, I will. What's her name?
The website is her name. It's SusanRuthCohen.com.
Ruth Cohen.
Just Susan Ruth, RUTHCOHEN, SusanRuthCohen.com. Yeah, she's got a lot of stuff on her website. Yeah, so she can't work when she hears me talking business stuff.
Yes, and she
That's-
is in her own world trying to do the painting stuff.
So how are you spacing yourselves out, you and David? Are you in different
Good.
places? Are you
We
in
are
different?
in different rooms. Yes, he has his office. I have my office. Then we have a common office we share if we're seeing people,
Right.
or if we're doing webinars. He can be downstairs. My office is upstairs. So trying to work it through. Yes. Well, I actually just made this office. I'm so happy
Okay.
now because I felt like a nomad for a while. You use the room, I use the room. Now I
What I
have my
can see
own
looks
room.
beautiful. It looks
Oh,
beautiful with
thank
the
Yeah.
painting and the flowers and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, the
Thank you.
background is
It looks
very nice.
peaceful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
are you seeing
So how are
anybody
you
in the
doing, Ed?
waiting room at all?
No, I'm not seeing anyone to admit. How do we
Okay.
go
Maybe
there?
we'll
They
get-
will just
It
show up.
should show up in the waiting room.
Yeah, and
had-
we
we
are
had
on
13
time,
we had-
but
We had
yes.
13 people registered. So why don't we give it a few more minutes, and then if
Okay.
nobody shows,
Yeah.
then Stuart's going to get a lot of personal attention today, which is wonderful. He deserves it.
Yes.
I don't know. I always think if Ed is talking about something, it's important.
Oh, that's so
Oh,
nice.
that's a nice compliment. Thank you.
Yeah, and you know, I mean it, because there's a lot of people. I'm in the same business as Ed, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of people that claim they do this, but not all of them know what the, you know,
Yeah.
you're not going to learn
Yes.
from them.
I
Yeah.
agree. I agree. He gives a lot of good information, and
I'm
for
gonna
the
be
good
like
of
that.
everyone.
Yeah, I think that's
I know.
the key. Try to help as many people as we can. But Stuart's
right.
being modest right now, but he can definitely provide a wealth of information himself. So
Yes,
that's why we get along.
Yes, I respect and honor both of you very much.
In the organization that we're in together, the HBA, I usually present myself regarding Medicare. You know, I put myself out there as an expert in that. You know, it gets people are need a lot of help with that, and feel like it's a good thing, to help them.
Lot of changes going on in the Medicare world. I'm hearing, Stuart, a lot of rate increases. Is that
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't know what they'll be actually. I know they've asked for rates. Nothing. I haven't seen approvals on the Medicare.
No,
Well-
but David was mentioning something to me about something that was going on with United Healthcare. Maybe I misunderstood what he was saying.
Well, they've asked for an increase on the Medicare supplements, and Empire Blue Cross has, and then we'll see what comes in. But it's not like commercial insurance where you see what's going on, like with all the carriers, what they've asked for. I'm sure
Yeah.
you're getting a lot of phone calls. Everybody thinks their premium is going up in a few months. So I just had somebody December renewal, and I'm saying, no, that letter, did you read the letter?
Yeah,
Did you,
I mean,
before you called me, did you look at the letter at all?
that was the
right?
worst thing they ever did, was
It
those
says
June
2021,
letters.
Right?
Yeah.
I hate it. So to that, everybody got letters saying that the insurance company has proposed an increase for 2021. And if you read the letter, it says it might be approved, it might not be approved at all, or some other amount, but it will not affect you until your renewal in 2021. So if somebody's renewing in December, it doesn't relate to them. It relates to when they renew in December of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like,
Yes.
it's all right, it creates conversations, but no matter how much you tell the clients and you reach out to them, but it's crazy. I have to write a letter saying you're getting a letter that says that it won't affect you till 2021.
I
And
know.
what that means is that it won't affect you till 2021.
Yes,
I know.
and people are so stressed they don't even have the bandwidth to read anything, or they're thinking another bad news is coming.
Yeah.
Another bad news is coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's the thing. They're used to hearing about increases. So
Yes.
Yeah. So
I know.
I just sent resent the email confirmation to the group, and let's see if
Okay.
anybody, because
Yeah, maybe they,
there's quite a few people on here that have not joined, and that's surprising. So we'll
sent
see.
an email this morning.
I did not. No.
Maybe it'll help that you're sending it out now. Because I think I have a habit that when I get the emails, let's say yesterday or whenever you sent it to me, I do a snooze where it pops up again an hour before the actual event. So when I get a confirmation, I don't put it on my calendar necessarily. Well, I do put it on there, but the email pops up an hour before the event. That way there it is, and I click on join now. Otherwise, you'd
Yeah.
have to search through your emails to find
Well,
it.
I use Outlook. I usually just put it on my Outlook calendar, but maybe
Yeah.
maybe we'll send the confirmation the morning of, again, the way I just did it, because you make the assumption that everybody uses Outlook, and that's not true. So maybe people do have to search through their emails to find this stuff. That's a good point. So, yeah.
And sometimes they put it, sometimes they don't, sometimes they think they'll get to it. Yes,
Yeah,
all kinds
I know.
of things. I use Google, and in Google too, you can put it right on your calendar, and it gives you, all the information. But
and
everyone is
usually
so.
my calendar is set up to remind me of the event an hour before the event. Also, I am surprised how many people in business really have absolutely no system to know where they're supposed, but we shouldn't be. That could be my new resolution: is don't be surprised by anything.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, we just have to assume that not everybody's like us, and that nobody's really thinking about anything, and that we have to constantly communicate and remind.
And they are bombarded with so many things that it is hard. It is hard to organize, to focus, and there's a lot of distractions out there.
And the working from home and different routine has really affected a lot of my clients.
Yes,
where
exactly.
they're not thinking clearly about stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What time is it? I'm just checking the time.
It's
So it is 1:09.
So let's go 1:10, and then at 1:10, why don't you just start? And if anybody, joins us along the way, we'll admit them along the way, and we'll go from there.
Yes. Okay, great. I can do that. And or we can have a different conversation that everything that's going on for you. But I think maybe having this awareness, what I'm going to present today, could be of use. I think it is, because as we're going back to work as leaders, and as business owners and people that guide other people, if we're aware of certain personal capacities that we need to navigate, and certain things that we can do to shift our services, our products, and so that we can accommodate our clients, ourselves, and keep everyone sane, inspired, and connected, is really important. So maybe I'll share my screen with you both, so you can see my PowerPoint here.
Yeah, and I think to your point, Till, that one thing that I think this is the focus here today, which I thought was different and brings a lot of value, is that most are in a position right now, as they're transitioning back to work, that they're thinking of the physical aspect of it. What can I do to make my employees healthy and safe? Right? But but there's so much more to it, that from a mental standpoint of how are you going to make your employees feel comfortable? Are you going to be able to offer flexibility, things of that nature, which I'm sure is what you're going to talk about.
Exactly. We just had someone else just joined us.
Hi, everybody. It's Kathy.
Hi, Kathy.
Welcome, Kathy. How are you?
Oh, I'm okay.
Trying to be better, right? We all
yes,
are.
Yes. I'm going to be driving, so I'm going to have to click the video off because I have to get.
I was going to say, listen, don't watch.
Thank you.
That's the first safety tip of the day.
Okay, then. All right. Okay.
Yes. So as we are, as we are transitioning back to work, like you said, Ed, it's really, there's a lot of policies and procedures that everybody's following in terms of keeping everyone safe. But with that safety, we're not talking about how to emotionally and mentally also making everything safe for each other. And that's what I want to touch upon today and talk more on the stress factor and communication and cultivating compassion. So when we are going back and transitioning to work, as leaders, we can create that stability and we can create that growth by doing three things: mastering our own stress, cultivating compassion, and improving communication. As business owners, leaders, nonprofit, we've never been faced with so much challenge at once coming at us. So when these things are happening, we need to master our stress to understand what the warning signs are for ourselves and for each other, our team, our employees, our staff. We need to cultivate compassion because as we get back to work, we're going to see that everybody has different feelings about it. Some people will be wearing masks. Some people don't want to wear masks. Some people keep the social distancing or physical distancing, I should call it. Some don't. There's so many different ways people are responding, reacting to what is coming at them. So instead of being so fast to going into criticism or judgment, we really need to understand and have some compassion towards ourselves and towards them, to understand our own struggle and the struggle of others so we can help them. And that will really require improvement in communication. And what I mean by that is having really active listening skills, building active listening skills, instead of jumping to conclusions, to deeply listen to ourselves and to each other so we are really hearing our needs and each other's needs so we can make it safe for each other, and where we can create an environment for safety where expression and connection is possible. And I will start talking into mastering stress. There are 7 warning signs of stress that we need to be aware of in ourselves and in our staff, in our team, so that, again, not to judge, but understand that people are stressed. And when we see these signs, maybe opening some honest communication as to if they need help, if they need the support, or just having communication to how we can be there for them. How can we create that stability? And because the times are challenging, but with the challenge comes growth, and we're all being pressured to grow in accelerated ways. So the first warning sign of stress is anger. And I think we are seeing that in our nation everywhere right now. There's a lot of anger, hostility. And again, that's because people want to take control of things. Anger will come as a part of stress. And that is intolerance, hostility, anger. Those will be there, and we need to look at those signs. And anger could be active or passive. In active ways, people will behave or say things that causes pain and discomfort to others. And when it is passive, it is indifference. It is blocking others. it is being stubborn. So we need to watch out for those signs when we go back to work and really be aware instead of judging or cutting someone to really understanding where they're at and where their stress levels are at. The second warning sign is perfectionism. And I'm not seeing anyone, so I don't know if anyone suffers from any of those things, but I think we're seeing all of this in our environment, in the workplace. And perfectionism is not the same thing as excellence, because we want things to be excellent and we want things to be well done. But perfectionism is that constant competition with oneself, constantly thinking this is not good enough, this is not okay, this needs to be better, and this needs to be better. And that creates a lot of stress. And all these warning signs that I'm sharing with you today are connected to cardiovascular health, a lot of medical problems, physical problems. So it's not only the emotional and mental problems, but this is really also bringing our immune system down and creating a lot of medical problems, which also create absenteeism for our team, for our employees. It creates more medical bills. It creates not being able to focus, not to be able to resolve problems. So there's a lot that is tied to stress that needs to be handled. Then we have that time urgency. Some people are so with the deadlines and let's get things done. What is next? And they're constantly rushing. That is also a sign of time urgency. What is next? What are we going to do? And how are we going to do it? So all these things we need to be aware of. There's nothing wrong with the person, or they're not doing this deliberately. They're just showing some signs of stress and calling out for help. And as leaders, how can we see that in ourselves and in each other? And there are ways that we can handle that. So the next one is disappointment. Disappointment is when our external world does not meet our expectation, we feel disappointed. And that disappointment makes us feel saddened, more depressed, and not trusting. And that impacts our work and our relationships in the workplace as well. And then the fifth one is burnout. And that is also from working so much, doing everything and not seeing the results. We may start seeing that we are moving slowly, we're feeling burnt out, we're constantly feel fatigued, and we can't really get things done. These are all signs of stress. I think we lost Catherine. I'm having her come in again. And then we have to watch out for underachievement. What I mean by underachievement is we do and we do and we do, but it's never enough. Do any of you have that sense at times? Because, you know, the society is always going, you need to do more, nothing is enough, you have to have more, you have to do more, bigger things, better things. And at the end of the day, we're never satisfied with ourselves and we feel like we did not do enough. And what do you think that does to our confidence, to our self-esteem, to the way we show up for our work, for our customers, for our team members, for our staff? It makes a big impact. And the seventh one is tension. This is physical and mental tension. So when we are very tense, then everything is hurting. Again, our ability to perform goes down. So that impacts the quality of the work that we are doing as well. So after sharing these 7 warning signs of stress, I'm going to stop the share and go and see if there's any Any comments, any sharing, anything that resonates with you, or any questions that you have on that, and then I'll go more into the rest of the presentation.
Well, I mean, I think it's very easy in the workplace to get into a perfectionism type of environment,
Yes.
you know, where, you know, the workplace has tend to gotten more pressurized over the years, and I think employers now, it's important for them to recognize that, and I think you are starting to see that in employers, that they're really trying to improve their work environment. They're recognizing the effect of presenteeism in the workplace, and the effect of absenteeism that's caused by stress. And you know, that's why you're starting to see in different companies, you'll see the more of, I like to call the Facebook model, right? You know, we have a client that has a pool table in the middle of the office, and they have ping pong, and they have ping pong tables, and they have a dog walking around the office. Many clients that have dogs with, and I think that's all goes back to that, you know, trying to reduce that stressful environment that you know is hopefully becoming a thing of the past, and more going towards this direction. But it's still very evident. I mean, you can walk around any office, anybody that either works with clients that have employees, or they work in an office with employees, you can see you know, when somebody's stressed out, or when they may be, you know, analyzing things, or over analyzing things, I should say. So
Yes,
I think
and
it makes
this
a lot
is
of
the
sense.
times that, and I think you're making great points, and I hope that it will increase that they have this, you know, addressing of what I call humanity, because we're all human, and we have these needs, and these needs need to be met for us to relax and go from that survival mode into thriving mode. And I always talk about the, you know, being in the amygdala and doing everything from that stress, fight and flight mode, versus being in the executive brain and being creative, innovative, and seeing those things. And that comes from really creating an environment where people are feeling safe to express themselves, to take a break, to relax, to be able to listen to some music, or play billiard, or whatever they're doing, or pat the dog. These are really important things. And instead of judgment, really constantly watching, where is our team? Where are our employees? And what can we do? What are their needs at this time? And that will also require real conversations. We have Lorraine coming in as well. And that will require to have honest conversations. So having that flexibility and giving the time to our staff, to our partners, to our board members, wherever we are at that moment, to really saying, what are your needs? What are you feeling right now? And not jumping to conclusion and not finishing the sentence for them, but allowing them to speak, allowing them to get in touch with what they're feeling. I think that will be very important. And like you said, Ed, the stress is costing businesses billions of dollars. And if things are put into place, for every dollar I think spent, there's $2 to $4. If any dollar spent for stress mastery, $2 to $4 is made, because we're adding to the well-being of the employee, of the staff member, of team members, and they can really focus better and do more. And I will also go into, you know, what as leaders we can become the stressor ourselves. So what to watch so we don't become a stressor, because that's also important, right? Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just add that some of the things that I was describing before are things that occur under normal circumstances, and we're certainly right now we're far from anything being normal circumstances right now. And you know, I think part of your point that I was getting is you have to check your employee's temperature. And now sometimes literally you have to check their temperature,
Yes,
right? But
physically and all the ways,
yeah,
yes.
right. But theoretically, you want to know how they're feeling. And I think, you know, in 2 weeks, we're going to talk about when we do our next lunch and learn, if you will, we're going to talk about employee surveys, and how employers can design good surveys to find out how their employees are feeling. Now that's important all throughout the year, I think. But now more than ever, employees are coming back to the workplace and they're stressed for other reasons. You know, they're stressed. They could be stressed for other reasons. They could be stressed because they had a sick family member. I had one, right? And I know what that feels like, right? So maybe they had a sick family member and either they're still sick or they have anxiety because they don't want to get sick. They saw what happened to their loved one, or maybe they have somebody who's high risk at home, or they themselves are high risk. And all these things are going to be factored in mentally when employees return to the workplace. And so a lot of what you're talking about is so important daily, but it's even over heightened now because you have to add that extra level of feeling comfortable in the workplace in a really difficult time.
Yes, and I'm implementing also what we have now, our stress mastery questionnaires. These are assessments that the employers can give to their employees so that we see where on these warning signs, if they are high risk, medium risk, low risk, what is happening in the workplace and what trainings needs to be done. Yes, if you're angry, just saying don't be angry is not going to help. We need to bring training to understand what to do about the anger, what to do about the perfectionism, what to do about burnout. And so I do have the stress assessments. That is the only assessment that's certified by American Institute of Stress, that we can look at the stress effects, the stressors, and the warning signs and see where the employees are. And I love what you also said, giving surveys, checking the temperature, and really having those conversations to sit and say, how are you holding up? What is going on? And there's also employee at risk behaviors, the obvious ones, and they are the subtle ones that we can also assess as leaders and as owners, that we can look and see, is this employee showing a risk behavior, and what can I do? What is going on here? Or how many of my staff members are showing that? And like you said, it is now so multi-layered. It's not only the workplace creating this, it's the situation at home, it is our own fears about our health, our finances, our loved ones. There's so many different things that are going on. So it's really important to pay attention and to be present and not to negate the importance of mental and emotional health. And I think my next I will share my next, we were here, hold on 1 second. Can you see the slides again?
Yes.
So this is before COVID-19. This was by American Heart Association, was looking at the mental health crisis we were having. So with COVID, I don't even know what the numbers would look like. So if you can look at it, you'll see that depression had increased, drug use, alcohol, suicide. And I know with COVID-19, these are a lot higher, those numbers. So we need to take this seriously because that is affecting our bottom line. And and we are, as employers, bearing much of the financial burden. And this is what I was saying before when I said for every dollar invested in prevention, $2 to $4 is saved in costs. And this is really important to understand, because also this doesn't just stay in the workplace. When someone has all these warning signs, they're going home and they're having a ripple effect on their families, on our communities, on our society. And that's why we're seeing such unsettlement restlessness, anger, irritation that's coming out with so many issues that are showing up right now. That's why it's really important right now to pay attention to those things.
Stuart, sorry, so
Yes,
that Stuart was
sure.
having trouble seeing the screen. Are you seeing
Oh.
it now, Stuart?
Let me go back, Stuart.
No,
Can you see it?
I see that that I'm in screen share, but it's just a black screen.
Huh, you're not seeing. I'll
Well,
send this.
you shouldn't be in screen share though, Stuart. I mean, are you saying that?
No, I'm saying it says you are viewing to that of our own screen, but I'm not seeing anything but black.
Huh, that is interesting. Let me
Yeah.
see if there's anything else I need to do.
It's okay though. I'm following it without seeing the slides.
Yes, I can send this slide to you. It's showing that this is before COVID-19, Stuart. Depression rate had increased between 2005 and 2015, 11%. Suicide, 31%. Alcohol, 47%. And with COVID-19, people, all I see on social media is they're drinking and they're drinking and they're drinking, and they're thinking this is not having an impact. It's having an impact on their physical, on their livers and all that. And mentally, it's having a huge impact. And this is also, you know, causing an addiction. So I'm going to go back, stop sharing, because I want to talk to this. It's so important to understand the anxiety and the addiction loop. When we are anxious, in the old times, the anxiety came, we went flight and fight. Now when anxiety is coming, we want distraction. Now distraction can be alcohol, can be drugs, can be food, can be shopping, or can be binging on movies on Netflix. So what happens is when we start doing that, for that moment, the brain is rewarded. So in that moment, we're satisfied, we're calm. But now for the same effect to happen, we need to increase the dose. So then we keep increasing and increasing, and it becomes an addiction, which becomes very hard to break that pattern. And now we are really impacting our finances, our physical health, so many different things. And there are different healthy ways that we can do that. And Stuart, I don't think you were in the last webinar where I talked about stress, what it means. So the definition of stress being when demands exceed capacity, we experience stress. So sometimes we can do things about the demands, sometimes we can't, like we've been seeing in the last 3 months. But we can always do something about our capacity. And that is, you know, there's 5 essentials that are important to increase that capacity: eating well and hydrating, sleeping well, moving, and recharging, and social connection. And we need to look at those essentials and see what we're doing and what we are not doing. So recharging could be being in nature, could be painting, could be counting your blessings, writing a gratitude journal, listening to music, exercising, doing yoga, meditating. So everyone has a different way that works for them, because our dispositions, our beliefs, are the way we're raised, and who we are makes us unique in our stress and in our cure. So there are healthy ways we can build this capacity so that we can deal with the dangers and threats that are coming at us, instead of trying to distract with unhealthy ways that I just talked about. And I think this awareness is so important that I really want to bring everyone's attention to it more and more, because it is as easy as just taking a conscious breath throughout the day that we can center ourselves. And there are many healthy ways we can expand our capacity. And I don't know if you have any questions, any comments, any sharing about that. Are you seeing more of all these things in our world right now?
Are you asking if I'm seeing more stress?
More stress, more distractions, using alcohol, using,
Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
right?
Yeah. I find it's hard to tell someone not to do something, or for me, it's much better to focus on doing something. I feel like if you fill the space with, as you said, whether it's with positive things, whether it's
Yes,
exercise or whatever, rather than saying, I'm not going to eat too much. Instead, you say, I'm going to exercise more. Or
yes,
not saying I'm not going to eat unhealthy food, just focus on eating more healthy food. In other words, fill the
yes.
space with the alternative thing.
Exactly, and that's so important. And also, one of the things, if we are eating more, eating a few more cookies, drinking a few more, then that's where the deep conversation comes, asking ourselves, what do I really need?
Mm-hmm.
Why am I eating more right now? Why am I watching more movies? What do I really need? And can I replace, and can I fulfill that need with something healthy? And that is really important. So if I'm eating this cookie because I want something sweet in my life, what else can I do to feel that? That will be also really important. And like you said, Stuart, focusing on the things that are positive and putting our focus on the things we can control, not on the things we cannot control.
Yeah, I think that's important. Working at home and not being in an office, whatever environment, or you have to reset and be motivated.
Yes.
It would be easy to not work,
Yes.
So I always find for myself, I have to just focus on, it's not about me. I focus on like how many people can I help today?
Yes, and I think that's really important.
Because there are things in our business right now that are, no matter what we do, we may be, I don't know, Ed may be sharing this. We're going to lose some business over time. It hasn't happened as quickly as I thought, but, obviously if clients are going to go out of business, I'm going to lose clients due to that. So I don't focus on how is it going to impact me. I focus on that client is going through a very difficult time. How can I make this transition for them as smooth as possible?
Yes.
My success is not measured by my income at the end of the year. It's going to be by how much easier I made other people's lives or less stressful. So
and that is
my stress.
So important, Stuart, it's the bigger purpose, right? Bigger than ourselves. When we're working for something bigger than ourselves, then we're inspired to do more. That makes us take action because it's not us. We are understanding our interconnectedness and the impact we have.
Change the measurement system.
Yes.
Basically, I like to change it so that I always win. If I
like
measure my success, I always win. So if I measure my success by dollars or sales or revenue, you could feel bad every day because some deal didn't go the way you wanted it. But if you measure by how many people you helped, and then you always win. And then I have found over time that the other thing actually does happen. We do earn.
Yes, and that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
It happens because you are keeping yourself motivated and you're looking at it as win-win. Now your confidence is better, your self-esteem is better, you're feeling you're making a difference. Now you're out there, and when we're out there showing up, the universe, businesses show up for us too.
Well, I think that's what employers should do. you know, whether the reason they put in ping pong tables and all that stuff and all those nice things in offices wasn't really to make their employees healthier or more well-being. It was to attract younger hires who didn't really want to go to work at all. You know, they wanted to, you know, they try to make an environment that looked attractive to them. But I think that offices should really be focusing on training people to about the stresses that their clients and the people they're serving are under, and how can they better recognize that, like, let's say someone is hostile yelling at you, that they're not actually yelling at you. There's other things going on, like how can you help them make their life a little bit better? And if they could train the people, because if you try to tell people to feel their own problems, people have trouble seeing themselves, but we can always see the problem in someone else.
Yes,
you know, we recognize.
And that is why I brought.
Yeah, no, I think employers have to, if you focus on your employees serving other people and recognizing the stresses in them, you'll, by helping other people, it'll help yourself and realize I'm exhibiting that same thing that that other person is. You know, I'm talking to them, I'm also talking to myself.
Yes, and if we don't get triggered by our client's anger at that moment or disappointment or whatever they're doing, if we're not triggered and we keep centered, we can change them, because now the way we talk to them, communicate with them is different. And of course, we can do a whole webinar on what to do about those 7 warning signs, because each can be handled in its own. There's so many things we can do, and we can train our employees as to what to do when someone angry comes, whether that's a teammate or a client. And we can turn things around if we are centered and we are stable and we are willing to hear, not to jump into conclusions and judge and react, because that reaction creates a reaction. I think people are coming later. We have someone else just coming in as well. So shall I share? Do we have time, Ed? Shall I share some of the leaders, what as leaders not to become a stressor, what we need to do?
Yeah, so that maybe this is a good, I had a question, and maybe this is a good segue into what you're going to talk about, but just assuming that many employers right now, well, employees are coming back to work, and assuming that what you've actually said when you gave those statistics before is actually happening. And I think it's easy to see that's happening. If you watch any news report, alcohol sales are through the roof, right? We know that. We know people are under stress. We know that there may be an increase in suicides or drug use and all that. But those are very difficult things to recognize in other people, and it's, you know, in a short turnaround where people are coming back to work very rapidly right now. What should employers be looking for? What should employers be proactively doing as their employees come back to work to help with that, knowing that, you know, some of them might be dealing with this, they just can't see it?
Yes, then I will see if I can bring up my employee at risk behavior. I had hide those slides, but if it can be, because it will show for the employee what to look for in the behaviors that indicates we have problem here that we need to do before I get into, as a leader, how not to become a stressor ourselves. I think they're both important. I'm going to see if I can change that on my slides. I am not sure if I can. Hold on a second. What I'm going to do is, let me see if I can just change that quickly. Okay, I am going to show those to you. I mean, I can talk into them as well, but I thought if you see it, it might be easier. So I'm just going to unhide the slides. I thought maybe it will be too long to go over these things, but I think it's important. And maybe the other one, we can do another webinar and see what we can do. Okay, here we go. I'm almost there. So any other questions you have, Ed?
I'm sure I'll have more.
Okay, I think this is a very good question that you asked, because we need to look at those behaviors so we understand what we are doing. Okay,
I just think that, you know, employers might want to take a more proactive approach right now. And, you know, recognizing it and learning the warning signs is one thing, but, you know, how can they, what can they implement right away under the assumption that some of these things might be occurring that might be able to help de-escalate situations?
Yes, I am going, oops, hold on 1 second, I'm having a technical difficulty here. But
that's all right. That's the world we live in right now.
Okay, now. Yes, sometimes things are working, sometimes they are not. Yes.
We all have
Can
to be,
you see my screen now?
I cannot see the slides.
You cannot see the slides. That's a shame.
I don't know why.
Okay. Okay, so I will read it to you so you can hear it, Stuart, then I'll send them to you.
Yeah, I don't know.
So what we're going to do also, we're recording this, so we'll make this available for everyone after the fact as well.
Great.
Okay, great. So we have the obvious employee at risk behaviors. So that would be, oops, sorry, I'm going to get this. Okay. Excessive, if they are excessively absent, excessive absenteeism, decrease in hours, billable hours, decrease in sales, avoidance of the managers or others in the office, isolation, anger, aggression outbreaks, threats, during or after our drug alcohol use. You may be smelling it, you may be aware of it, that they're coming with a hangover, not taking any breaks. Overworking is also an indicator that there is risk. Working constantly, that's why it's important to watch them and say to take a break. And then there are employee at risk subtle behaviors. And the subtle behaviors are caustic or degrading remarks, passive aggressive behavior, that's stubbornness, that is blocking others, that is indifference. Those are all passive aggressive behaviors. Being late routinely for client staff meetings, continuous avoidance of office functions, increased medical use by self or family, longer than usual lunch breaks, loss of concentration, simple errors in work. So these are, I'm going to stop the sharing so I can go. Is that helpful, Ed?
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely very relative to what the message we're trying to convey today. I think that, again, the question would be how, you know, those warning signs are there. What should employers be doing right now to be proactive with this? Should they be providing, you know, more? Should they be communicating with their employees more now? Should they be hosting more one-on-one interactions with their employees? And should they be finding out, you know, should they be asking these questions? Are you comfortable? Are you, you know, how do you feel about coming back to work? You know, should these be the questions that employers should be addressing with their employees?
Very good, Ed. Yes, we need to speak more and more than before to be in touch. And of course, virtually or live, we need to ask these questions. How are you? And not just listening for I'm fine, thank you, but really listening. How are you? How are you holding up? Maybe when we say, how are you? The common answer would be, oh, I'm fine. And you? How are you holding up? That opens the line. If they want to speak more, they'll speak more. If they don't, they'll say, I'm doing fine, I'm fine. But they may say, you know what, I'm really having a hard time because my mother is in the nursing home and I haven't heard and I haven't seen her and I don't know how this will be, or I'm having a really hard time with this homeschooling or whatever. We need to be able to give more time to listen to them and ask the question, how are you holding up? How are you doing? Is there anything that you need support with? And having some office hours where they can come and talk to the manager, to the owners, however big the organization is, and being in touch. And I really think at this time, experts are needed as well. Experts need to go to businesses to facilitate those conversations, or to create some kind of training so people understand this and they're not afraid that this is not a mental stigma or we're not pointing fingers, but we're there to really for their well-being, and they need to understand what to do. Nobody is teaching those things. So if I'm so stressed and I don't know what to do, and I know if I have a glass of wine that's going to help me, that's all I know. But I think it is the leader's responsibility to provide other education, other training, so that there's some awareness. What do I do with my anger? What do I do with my disappointment? What do I do with my emotions? Do I show them? Do I not show them? But after a while, there will be an explosion and it will all come up. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And you know, we have a client and one that you've met, Tildet, and I don't remember if it was by your suggestion or theirs, but they started to implement a strategy or were planning on this strategy when they return their employees back to work, where the managers, the leaders of the organization would have set times during the day where they had like this open door policy, where they instructed their employees that between 12 and 1 o'clock, my door is open, and you can come in and tell us how you feel about being back to work. Tell us what's working, what's not working, what makes you comfortable, what makes you uncomfortable. And I think that that can really go a long way in getting, and like we talked about before, surveying, making it giving your employees a forum to speak and feel comfortable about speaking how they're feeling about being in the workplace.
Yes. And at the same time, also, we need to increase our appreciation, not only for a job well done, for a job okay done as well. Because people are so stressed, they want that kind of support. They want to know that they're doing okay. So we need to bring those appreciation. I said, this job was really well done. Thank you. Thank you for taking care of that phone call today. That really freed my time. Whatever it is, giving them the feedback, especially coming back from virtual world where there was not a lot of feedback in a lot of organizations. Some did have the feedback, but some didn't. So the employees were lost, especially millennials. They need that feedback. They need to know that they're doing okay. And if we're not providing that, they're going to go. And then we are going to be looking for hiring others, and it will become a revolving door. So we also need to make sure that there is feedback in place in these times more than before.
Yeah.
Do we have time? Shall I go quickly over what we can do as stressors, or shall we keep that for another time?
Why don't we spend a few more minutes, maybe 5 more minutes, and then we'll wrap. I think we're almost at an hour, so it's 5 to 2. So why don't we stop at 2, and we'll save some of your secrets for another one. I'm sure this won't be our last.
Exactly. So maybe we'll keep as leaders, not becoming a stressor for our next webinar, because there are a lot of things. But the most important thing, I think, for leaders right now not to become a stressor is we need to be consistent. We need to be centered. we need to communicate very clearly. We need to follow policies and procedures ourselves, not be indifferent. Be very clear in what we want for our expectations of ourselves and of each other. Really, most importantly, having compassion. I think at these times are really calling for a lot of compassion, to understand that we are struggling and others are struggling. How can we open our heart to that struggle to understand and come from that place of understanding and not minimizing anyone or judging anyone, but having real conversations as to how can I make a difference? How can I be there for you? And also listening to our own needs and keeping our own sanity so we can be there inspiring others and making them feel safe so they can do their job and express themselves in the best way possible.
Yeah, and I'll add some technical guidance to that as well.
Yes.
So I think one of the things that's very important is, we've been talking a lot about flexibility, and I think employers want to have more flexibility with their employees than ever before, at least for the short term. But there is some technical issues surrounding that with their policies and procedures. And you do need to make sure that if you're creating flexibility in the workplace, that you're being consistent to what both your handbook or your summary plan descriptions, what they say you should do, because you could actually create some liability. You definitely want to do your best to help employees come back to work and feel comfortable. Just make sure you're doing it in a fashion that's compliant with what your policies and procedures are. You certainly can change those and you can make updates to them, but they have to be done and notated in your handbooks and plan descriptions before you do so. So just make sure you keep that in mind, because I think there's going to be a lot of employers that want to do the right thing and do good by employees, but we want to make sure it doesn't create any liability.
Yes, that's very important. And that is the clarity, and that's the procedures and the consistency that everybody is following. That it's very important. Thank you, Ed.
Yeah. So it's just about 2 o'clock, so we'll wrap up. I want to thank Tildette, as always, for doing a fantastic job and joining us and giving her side of the return to work situations going on, which I think is extremely important. We're going to be doing our Vanguard Lunch and Learns every 2 weeks, so look out for future invites. As I said, we'll definitely have Tildette back. As long as she's willing to keep joining us, we're going to have her back because the information is unbelievable.
It is my honor.
But the next one we'll be having is on July 8th, so look out for the invite. And that one we'll be talking about employee surveys and how to even get some of the information that Tildette's giving us today and putting them on a survey where you can get it in writing and find out exactly what your employees are thinking now and in the future. So with that, we'll wrap up for today. Thanks everybody for joining us, and thank you again to Tildette. Look forward to seeing you all soon.
Thank you.
Have a great day, everybody.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So I'm ending meeting for all, Ed?
Yes, if you can do that. And then
Okay.
I think it should, well, no, why don't you do this? Why don't you turn it back to me as the host so I can end it, and then I'll have the
Yes.
recording.
How do I do that? Maybe you let me see if I can do that on my end, or do you need to do that on your end?
Now, right next to my name, if you go into participants and you see my name,
Okay,
there
let
should
me
be an
go there.
arrow.
Hold on a second. Okay, here we go. Oh, this thing opened up and it does. Okay, here we go. So next to your name, I can make host. Yes. Okay,
There
got
you
it.
go. Right. So now when I end this,
Okay.
I should be able to save the recording so that we can
Yes,
send this
I
out
think
to
the
everybody.
recording saves automatically anyway.
Yeah, it does.
So that is great. Oh, okay, now it is the two of us anyway. So do you think that was good, that information?
Fantastic. I think it's
Great.
valuable information, and I look forward to getting this out to the people that weren't able to join us today, but to everybody that didn't even register, because I think this is great information.
Wonderful. Do you have the other one recorded? And this, maybe if you can give it to me, I can share parts of it if you don't mind, with your name and this and that. So maybe it will help you also.
Yeah, I think so. I will. I'll look right after we get off this meeting. I'll look. I think I have it saved.
Okay.
You know where I'm pretty sure I have it saved, and I think I have it saved to our YouTube channel. So I'll just send you the link.
Oh, okay. That sounds wonderful.
Pretty
That
sure.
would be great. Yes,
Okay.
that will be great. And we'll be in touch. And I will be getting you your stress assessment soon. So
Okay.
you can have a look at it, and I'll send you the info also. And so maybe I really think now is the time, if we can help some of the businesses to go in and train them in these areas. I think they're going to see a lot of warning signs, really, because people are going to be angry. Mask, no mask, policy, no policy.
Mhm.
So I don't know, when would be a good time, but maybe that's something we can look into and start asking people if they want some training.
Yeah, well, we're already talking it up, but figure out some way to formally get the message out. I would think with this video, that will help gauge some of that, and we can put a good message in there. But if you have any other ideas, let's
Okay, I'll
talk
run them
off
by you.
this, and we'll figure something out.
Okay, and I also forgot to tell here, I should have told it here, but I didn't. I am running my best stress mastery and master your stress and build your resilience program 4-week course starting July 13th for free. Do you, I think I had mentioned it to you. Do you want me to send you an email and you want to send it to your clients?
Yes, absolutely.
Because I think they would really get a lot out of it. I'm putting the best course out there.
We'll send that out to everybody.
Okay, so I'll send you an email now so you can look at it. And if you have any questions, you let me know.
Sounds good.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thanks as always.
Be well.
Speak soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.